G'day, I'm Dave Cummins from Future Property Group, and welcome to the Future of Sustainable Development, the podcast where we explore the ideas shaping tomorrow's built environment. Today, we're exploring the importance of timber construction. What is it, why is it important, and how to embrace it? Let's start with something simple, yet powerful. Timber is the mainstream building material that literally grows back. Steel and concrete are incredible feats of human engineering, but the carbon footprints are staggering. According to the International Energy Agency, cement alone accounts for about 8% of global carbon dioxide emissions, while steel contributes to another 7%. By contrast, timber is renewable. It helps store carbon instead of emitting it, and when harvested responsibly, it regenerates. It's the only major material that actually makes the planet healthier while it's growing. So what exactly is timber construction? At its core, it's using engineered wood products like cross-laminated timber, laminated veneer timber, and timber beams as the primary structural components in buildings. These are not just planks you find from the local hardware store. They are highly engineered. They are incredibly strong, they are fire resistant, and capable of supporting skyscrapers. In fact, research published in Construction and Building Materials confirmed that cross-laminated timber panels have compressive strengths comparable to concrete and tensile strength comparable to steel, making them not only a viable but preferable product in many applications. Timber construction is not new. Humans have been building with wood for thousands of years. In Japan, there is construction evidence still today from the year 607. It is the world's oldest surviving wooden structure and still stands today, nearly 15,000 years later. Timber framed much of Europe's medieval towns, and in Australia, it helped shape everything from colonial homes to railway bridges. What has changed is our technology. In the 1990s, Australian engineers pioneered cross-laminated timber, revolutionising what wood could do. Instead of being limited by the size of a single tree, cross-laminated timber allowed us to build panels as large as 20 metres by 3 metres, unlocking the possibility of high-rise timber construction. Now, why is timber so important today? Because the property sector is responsible for nearly 40% of global carbon emissions, according to the World Green Building Council, and construction materials themselves, what we call embodied carbon, which helps make up 11% of that. Every tonne of cement and steel we use digs a climate hole deeper. Timber flips the story. A cubic metre of timber stores about 0.9 tonnes of CO2 absorbed during growth, as reported in the Journal of Cleaner Production. So when you build with wood, you're not just reducing emissions, you're locking carbon out of the atmosphere for the life of the building. The benefits extend beyond carbon. A study in building environment found that timber buildings have significantly lower life cycle energy demands compared to concrete or steel equivalents. Fire resistant? Absolutely. Despite the myths, heavy timber chars at a predictable rate, forming an insulated layer that actually protects its structural core, as confirmed by Fire Safety Journal. Earthquake resistant? Absolutely. Research from the University of British Columbia showed that engineered timber buildings performed exceptionally well in seismic activities due to their flexibility. And let's not forget wellbeing. The Journal of Environmental Psychology reported that occupants in timber-rich environments experience lower stress and improved mood, echoing the principles of biophilia. So if timber is so strong and safe, renewable and good for people, why don't we see more of it? The first reason is perception. Concrete and steel have dominated for so long that timber is often dismissed as less durable or less safe, despite modern evidence proving otherwise. The second is regulation. Many building codes around the world still restrict the height of timber buildings, a legacy of fire concerns from centuries ago. Yet countries like Norway and Canada have already approved timber towers for over 80 metres. The third barrier is supply. Engineered timber requires advanced manufacturing facilities, and while Europe and North America have built a strong industry, Australia is still catching up. According to the Forest and Wood Products Australian report, demand for cross-laminated timber is expected to rise over 25% annually, and local supply is limited. Without investment in domestic plants, we risk importing at scale, missing both the jobs and carbon benefit of building it here. There are also vested interests. The cement and steel industries are multi-trillion-dollar industries with deep roots in politics and infrastructure. A shift to timber threatens those revenue streams. It's not that timber can replace every use of cement and steel. We'll always need a mix, but it can drastically reduce our dependence, and that makes incumbents nervous. Despite resistance, the momentum is building. In Australia, the International House in Sydney, a 7-story cross-laminated timber building, became the country's first engineered timber commercial building in 2017 and proved that large-scale timber is viable in our cities. In Melbourne, in 25 King Street, it became the world's tallest engineered timber office at the time of its completion, saving over 1,400 tonnes of carbon compared to concrete alternatives. Globally, Norway and Canada have both created an 18-story building, which helps show that timber and high-rises are not just only possible, but they're already here. So how do we embrace timber more broadly? First, we need to challenge and change the narrative. Timber is not a step backwards to primitive huts. It is a step forward to high-tech, low-carbon cities. Just as the steel revolution in the 19th century allowed skyscrapers, the timber revolution of the 21st century can allow regenerative cities. Second, we need policy reform. Building codes must reflect science, not outdated fears. The Journal of Structural Engineering published findings that mass timber structures can meet the exceeded modern fire and seismic safety standards. Government should allow taller timber buildings and provide incentives for low carbon materials. Third, we need investment into manufacturing. Australia has had an enormous opportunity to use its plantation forests to supply cross-laminated timber domestically. A report by FWPA estimated that building even half of a new mid-rise residential stock is engineered timber would cut embodied carbon by 3 million tonnes annually, equivalent to taking 700,000 cars off the road. Fourth, we need education. Architects, engineers, and developers must be trained in the design principles of timber construction. Universities can lead, as they did with sustainability curricula in the 2000s, ensuring that the next generation sees timber as a default, not exotic. What would happen if we built more timber construction? Would slash carbon footprints of buildings dramatically, helping meet global climate targets. Would create healthier indoor environments, proven to help reduce stress and boost wellbeing. Would lower the weight of the buildings, reducing foundation costs and improving resilience in seismic zones. Will generate regional jobs in forestry and advanced manufacturing. And perhaps most importantly, will send a powerful message that our buildings don't have to cost the earth. They can help store carbon, nurture ecosystems, and inspire communities. The take-home message is this: timber construction is not an alternative. It is the future. It is strong enough for towers, safe enough for hospitals, beautiful enough for homes, and regenerative enough to help give back more than it takes. The data is clear. The projects are rising, and the urgency of climate change means we can't afford to keep building the old ways. So let's embrace timber. Let's design buildings that don't just shelter us, but sequester carbon, boost well-being, and inspire pride. Because when we choose timber, we choose a future where our cities grow from forests and our skyline tells a story of harmony between human progress and nature. Thank you for tuning in to the Future of Sustainable Development. Join us next time as we uncover fresh research, new innovations, and best practices for building smarter, greener, and more resilient buildings. Until then, let's continue to build places that heal the land and empower communities for tomorrow.